Well, that was a very rocky start. That landing was way too fast for my taste. Doesn't really matter though, as long as he's okay. You might be wondering now why I said he. This is going to come as a surprise, but this is not a game. It's certainly not a pretty fun match of Arma 3 Battle Royale I had yesterday. These are actually memories from a long-lost relative of mine. I'm pretty sure you're all thinking that's just some excuse for me to try to make some gameplay interesting, but you'd be surprised what you can get on the darker corners of the internet for the right price. I mean, have you seen Reddit? So here we are, revisiting the memories of Snowflake Trinket. Yeah, you heard right, Snowflake Trinket. That's his codename. It's not an anagram for the inspiration of this video, it's just his codename. I don't know how he got it or how he ended up in what it seems to be the United States military, given that I'm European, but those are questions that I don't ask. Now, I've already gone through the events that you're about to see, and let me warn you, these are not for the weak of heart. I don't know who brought these fearless men and women to this island in a plane and had them fight like wild beasts for survival. I suspect they were probably monitoring everything, watching from afar with a pleased look on their faces as they saw their evil experiment unravel. Now, I don't want to bore you with all the running Uncle Trinket had to do, so let's cut to the fun parts. Uncle Trinket, that's how I call him, is the kind of person who doesn't let opportunity fly by. So as soon as he saw that lucky drop, his mind was fixated with getting its precious loot. At this point you have to remember that these people are out to kill him, so in the words of Sir Paul McCartney, the theme of the following events is live and let die. For what I heard, Uncle Trinket was quite handy with a gun. He didn't grow up on the Wild West, and therefore he didn't have to defend himself constantly from bandits as other people had. But despite popular belief, he actually could hit the side of a barn with a bullet, as long as the barn stayed very still. You don't know Uncle Trinket as I do, but if you did, you would know that his eyes glimmered with joy the moment he saw that now not only could he bark if attacked, but also bite. And trust me, you don't want to get bitten by Uncle Trinket. He yields teeth of lead and gunpowder, and that's the kind of wound that doesn't heal. Uncle Trinket was confused as to why these people were so fixated on killing him. After all, they were victims of the mad people that had brought them here as much as him. He had no quarrel with them. At least, not originally. But as the bullets started flying, the smell in the air changed from the fresh and cool breeze of the summer night to the unforgiving stench of blood and despair, of tears and suffering. And thus his mindset changed. The prey now becomes the predator. I don't want to ruin for you the experience of watching Uncle Trinket's nightlife, so I will limit chatter to whenever I find it could contribute to your understanding of this glorious man and the events that took place on this dark night in this quiet and distant corner of the world. Finally, the deed was done. He felt happy, filled with an eerie sense of accomplishment as he proceeded to rip his victim from all his valuables. But it wasn't too long until remorse plagued his mind. He rationalized his feelings. He said, "It's natural to feel relieved to be alive despite all the danger that surrounds me." But he wasn't fooling anyone, not even himself. For some obscure reason, out of the many tough choices he had to make in his life, this was the one to change him permanently. No longer was he a scared animal, running from danger and only attacking in self-defense. He now craved another encounter, for he knew that despite the result he was going to win. Either he would receive the well-earned, sweet relief of death, or he would be a step closer to absolute vengeance. And so he gave himself a new purpose, a new plan. It was simple. It was beautiful. The purpose, be the last man standing. The plan, smoking out all the dirty rats hiding in the airfield. Before continuing his path, he stopped to look at the moon and the stars. They looked beautiful, unadulterated by the evil that now lied within him. He thought of the past. He remembered when he was still a young man and went to the forest at night to hunt wild beasts. Those were the good times. But now they're all gone, distant, fading memories. There's no postponing it. There's no avoiding it. He knows his fate. He accepts his fate. He embraces his fate. It may be the same moonlight lighting his way now, but he doesn't forget where he is, and especially where he's not. Well, this is disappointing, thought Uncle Trinket. He had been searching for his enemies for longer than he cared to admit, without any results. He saw signs of people here and there, but there was no trail for him to pick up, no prey to stalk. A deep and cold feeling was forming at the base of his neck. He sensed trouble. He sensed danger. After that brief encounter, he decided it was best to get back into safety and leave his wounded attacker behind. Nature and the ever-shrinking combat area would finish the job for him. Before he realized what was going on, he found himself trapped, pinned down by bullets, bounded in a nutshell. It is not my place to judge the character of this man, as I for one don't know how he would react in such extreme circumstances. What he did might seem careless for many, but Uncle Trinket wasn't fond of waiting. Indeed, after wrestling with his thoughts, he decided that he would rather face the bullets and possibly meet his final fate than wait for the attackers to make the next move. And so he ran. He ran through a storm of bullets. It wasn't easy, but he made it. This constant fighting was beginning to take its toll. But never mind that, as he had escaped from his own grave one more time. Hopefully for the last time, he thought. His heart was still pounding like an engine, even though he had found relative safety behind the solid body of a rock. He took it upon him to learn more about his enemies, to watch them and learn their moves. The more he saw, the more he realized they all were but headless chickens, running amok without a true purpose. Doubts began to fill his mind. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? This doesn't feel real. Those were the thoughts that plagued his mind. But if he wanted to survive, he needed to stop daydreaming and start running. After all, he thought, if they can catch me, they can shoot me. And so he postponed his thinking. He postponed his vengeance. He postponed reason and unreason. All he knew now was running. Once again he looked at the moon as for guidance. He didn't expect to get this far and didn't know how to proceed. Thus, when he heard the sounds of shots being fired, curiosity got the best of him and decided to investigate. The same curiosity that had brought upon him this ordeal. What a cruel joke. Well, that's a story for another time anyways. I'd like to think Uncle Trinket was one of the good guys, but I honestly can't tell anymore. Regardless of that, one thing is certain. He got what he wanted. He finally made it out of the island, and for that, I'm happy.